Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to Shared Reading. As we go ahead and start today's lesson, I want to remind you what we did yesterday. And we did read a poem about the dust storm. And in the poem, we know just by looking at this page here, we're going to be reading Tested by Dust. But I know that this is also a poem because it looks different than our normal prose writing that's written in paragraphs and sentences. We do see here that it's separated by stanzas when it's counted out by lines. So within our text yesterday, we did see examples of personification, which is a type of figurative language that is giving human-like qualities to non-human things. As we read today, we're going to keep a lookout for figurative language, and we might introduce a new type of figurative language to you. So this one's here really short, two stanzas long, just 12 lines. Tested by dust. While we sat taking our 6 weeks test, the wind rose and the sand blew right through the cracks in the schoolhouse wall, right through the gaps around the window glass. And by the time the tests were done, each and every one of us was coughing pretty good, and we all needed a bath. I hope we get bonus points for testing in a dust storm. Okay, so right here in this poem, it says it's from April 1934, that this Tested by Dust is all about students who were testing during a dust storm. So this line 12 really is grasping what this entire text is about. It doesn't have any of those details like them coughing or coming through the windows. It's sticking right to the point. So if I had to choose a summary, I would just say they're testing in a dust storm. As we go ahead and we do go on to the next poem, we are going to be looking for those key events in order to summarize. This one here is a little bit longer. Hold on, let me go ahead and try to move my face. Perfect. So I can turn the page. Alrighty. Once again, we're reading a second poem, or actually third if we count yesterday. And that is called Dust and Rain. We're looking for those key events in order to summarize at the end of the poem. On Sunday, winds came bringing a red dust like a prairie fire, hot and peppery, searing the inside of my nose. Roaring dust, turning the day from sunlight to midnight. So right here in stanza 1, we see that the dust storm was coming. So I'm going to go ahead and say, it was, dust was coming. That's all that I'm really going to give because the rest is just additional detail. But what I do notice here is that there's an example of figurative language. Here where we see bringing red dust like a prairie fire. This example of figurative language is a simile because it's comparing the dust to a prairie fire using the word like. It's red dust like a prairie fire. They're comparing it. It's hot and peppery. It's searing the inside of our nose, of the author's nose. Let's go ahead and keep on reading for those key events. And as the dust left, rain came. Rain, that was no blessing. It came too hard, too fast, and washed the soil away, washed the wheat away with it. Now, little remains of Daddy's hard work. And the only choice he has is to give up or start all over again. So this is very unfortunate, but they wanted rain, but when it came, it was not good. So the rain came, but the effect of it is that it washed the soil away. Okay. At the Strong Ranch, they didn't get a single drop. So who fared better? Ma looks out the window at her apple trees. Hard green balls have dropped to the ground, but there are enough left, enough for a small harvest. if we lose no more. June 1934. And then it says down here, a photograph shows a mother and her child who migrated from Oklahoma to California. It was taken by Dorothea Lange, a famous documentary photographer. Okay, so here we see that something hopeful happens, and there were apples left on the apple tree. So Ma looks at her apple tree, and there are some left. Now I'm going to take these annotations and I'm going to make a summary of the text that we just read using the annotations. So, summary. Dust storms that are what, and other severe weather. Here, rain. It says it in our title. Keep coming and ruining those crops. Families are trying to cope with the storm and the poor conditions. I reworded it here on this last one where they're keeping hope with the apples. That's the last sentence. They're trying to cope with the storm and the poor conditions. They're trying to make the best of the situation. Okay, so what we did today is we did read through the two poems. We looked at the lines, the stanzas, the figurative language. In this case, it was the simile using like to make a comparison. And we identified the key events in order to summarize the text. As you go into your Seesaw activity today, I'm going to be looking for what we have seen inside this poem. Okay, I've already given you a few clues. We have seen lines, we've seen stanzas, and we've seen figurative language included in poems. Okay, find the misfit, what is not included. That will be in your Seesaw. Work hard.